Hello and welcome back to the Beatrice YouTube channel. In today's class, we are going to be learning how to make this beautiful crisscross neckline Mama Africa inspired dress. It's a very simple tutorial and it's beginner friendly. If this is something you would like to learn, kindly stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a one shoulder, one off shoulder dress. One side has a shoulder and the other has an off shoulder. So I'm working with a care fabric. This fabric is just around 2¼ yard, and that is what I'm working with. So I have folded my fabric into 4, and the measurement I used in folding it is my hip measurement. My hip is 46 inches, so 46 inches divided by 2 is around 11½ inches. So depending on how free you want this dress to be, I want mine to be really free because I don't want it to have any slit and I want to be able to walk freely in it. So you can add between 3 to 5 inches depending on how free you want it to be. For me, this is my actual hip measurement here, so I'm adding about 1 2 3 4 like 5 inches to it, including my seam allowance. So that is what I use to fold my fabric into 4 by the width, and then the length is my full length, which is 16 inches. So on these fold points, I'm going to take my shoulder measurement. My shoulder is 16 inches divided by 2 is 8, so I have 8 inches there. My neck width measurements, remember I said this is like an off shoulder dress, okay, want like an asymmetric dress. So depending on how wide you want your neckline to be, actually I'm just going to leave this 3 inches here tentatively as my neck width, and then I'm going to come down by 1 inch from my regular shoulder slope, and then I'll connect it. So here I'm going to take my armhole measurements. My armhole is 9 inches, and then on that point I'm going to take my bust measurement. My bust is 44 divided by 4 is 11. So because I don't want this too tight, I'm going to be adding 1 inch as is. Okay, that's like adding 4 inches by the time you factor in the amount of fold you have. So again, after that I'm going to be adding 1½ inch seam allowance to that. So because I want mine to be very free, that's why I'm using this measurement. If you don't want it too free, you can just add 1 inch as is in your case. And then I'm going to take my ruler and then draw out my armhole curve. Okay, so this is majorly freehand. So this is my armhole curve, and then again using the ruler I'm going to connect this from my shoulder slope. The fabric is stretchy, so I'm just trying to take my time so that it does not shift. So now what I'm going to measure next is my waist measurement. I don't want the waist to be too big, I just want it to have a little bit of fitting. So my waist is 16. I'm adding ½ inch to it in case I join it on the shoulder. So on that point I'm going to mark a straight line, and then I'm going to work with my waist measurement. My waist is 36 divided by 4 is 9, so I'll add 1 inch to that as well, and that's going to leave me with 10 inches, and then I'm adding 1½ inches to that as well. So I'll connect together like this, and then from there I'm just going to find a way to connect it straight down to the 15 inches that I measured. Remember I added about 5 inches, okay, to around 16½. Remember I added 5 inches to my actual hip measurement, so I'll just connect it like that. Okay, so from the waistline you can see how I just connected it to match up with what I have there. So now I'm going to cut this out. So I'm cutting it like this, so you can see the shape that I have on my waistline. So if you want yours to be straight, if you don't want to shape it, you just take your bust measurement straight down and connect it like that. So for the neckline, remember I already took my neck width to be 3 inches. So the neck depth for my back, I'll leave it at around 2 inches, and then for the front it's going to be a little deeper. I'm leaving that at 6 inches. So for my neck width, I'm just going to extend this 3 inches by ½ inch, 3½. I don't want the one with shoulder part to be too off, so I want it to be on my shoulder. That's why I'm working with that. So if you don't mind it being off, you can work with 4 inches. Remember the 4 inches, by the time you multiply it by 2, is going to give you 8 inches width. So this is the width that I have. This is the neckline that I have for the front, for the back, and then for the front it's going to be a little bit like V shape. Okay, so I just don't want it to be sharp. So this is what my neckline will be for the front. So now I'm going to cut the neck for the back first, and then I'm going to remove the back now and then work on the front. So if you want this dress to be like, for you to be able to wear it like a boat neckline, and at the same time to wear it as one off shoulder, what you just need to do is to extend your neck width. So you can make your neck width to be around 5 inches, and then by the time you, if you make it 5 inches, by the time you open it, that's going to be 10 inches or 4.5 inches, which will give you a width of 9 inches. That's going to be wide, so that will give you the opportunity of placing them as a boat neckline, or you just shift it and one side is going to be off. But in this tutorial, I want to teach us how to make one side off and leave the other side to be a regular shoulder. So that's what I'm doing for this tutorial. So now I'm going to remove the back, and then I'll cut the neckline for the front before I open it up to shape the other side to the off shoulder. So I've cut it out. Now what I'm going to do now is to spread it, neck, both front and back. So you make sure that your front is matching your front and your back is matching your back. So now the next thing you're going to do now is to choose the side that you want to be off. So you choose that side that you want to be off, and the side you want to be on the regular shoulder. So now after arranging it like this, okay, so I have arranged it now, as you can see. So I'm choosing my left side to be the part where it's going to be off, and remember this is on the wrong side of the fabric, so please make sure you choose the right side that you want. So now to make it off from where my neck depth stops here, I'm going to mark around 1.5 to 2 inches. That's because I don't want it too wide. Okay, so I'm marking 2 inches. If you want it really off, you can mark up to 3 inches. So I'm stopping it at around 2 inches there, and then I'm going to take my curved ruler and then connect it to my neck depth here. So I'm going to be connecting the front and back separately because I'm working with two different necklines. If you're working with same neckline for your front and back, you can actually connect it together. So this is for my front, and then for the back I'm going to connect it with what I have coming here. So I'm just going to find a way to blend it in. Okay, so now again I'm connecting like this for the back. So again I'm going to cut the back neck first. Okay, you blend it well with what you have coming, and then from there I'm going to raise the front and then cut my front neck width. So now we have one side to be off and then the other side is on. Okay, so my ruler, my scissors has cut like quarter of an inch from my other side. So I'm just going to find a way to retain my original V shape that I have. So let me show you. Okay, you can see my scissors has cut part of this, so I'll just increase the depth by half an inch, and then I'm going to find a way to smoothen what I have there so that I can have my V shape back. Okay, so this is what I have. This is the neck for the front. So you can see this is hot on the shoulder, while this is a little bit off because I don't want it too off. So you can see the neck that I have for the one with the shoulder, and this is what I have for the off shoulder, and then this is what I have for the back as well. So I'll go ahead and create the strap that I'm going to use for the front. So this is the side that is off for the front, for the back as well. So now to create my strap, I'm just going to cut out. Okay, so I've gone ahead to turn it to the right side now. Remember, this is my off shoulder part. You can see is the one with the short shoulder, while this is the full shoulder part. So now I have cut out my strip of fabric and then I've turned it out, so you can see. So I just ironed it in such a way that the seam part is going to be inside, and then this is the side without the seam. So now I'll lay my front bodice, and then on the part that has the shoulder, I'm just going to come down by 1 inch. Okay, so I'm coming down by 1 inch on that side, and this is 1 inch, and then I'm going to be placing my strap on it like this. Okay, you're going to sew it like this so that it can come, so that I can neatly finish it. But I'm still going to lay it so that we can see what I'm doing well. And then on the other side, from this V part, from this lower V part, I'm just going to come up by 3.5 inches. So it's going to be coming from this part now, and then it stays like this on the 3.5 inches. And then on the part with the shoulder, from the shoulder I'm going to come down by 2 inches, okay, which is here. And then on the lower part of the other side I'm going to come up by the same 3.5 inches, which is here. And then I'm going to lay this as well. So after laying it, you can check it. If you are not okay with what you have, you can adjust it anyhow you want. But when you want to sew it, you're going to sew like this, okay. You sew it like this so that you can easily turn it out with your lining. So when you turn it with your lining, this is what you are going to have, something really neat. So I have gone ahead with cut facing. I have gone ahead to cut facing for mine. So this is my facing. After fixing the strap, I'm just going to use my facing to turn it out neatly. You can also use a bias, but I don't advise using bias for V neckline so that you don't lose your V shape. So I'm just going to lay my facing. Facing is just a small size lining. You cut it with the same way you have cut your main bodies, and then I will lay it on it. You can see it's exactly the same, and that's what I'm going to use to turn it out. So in order for you not to lose the shape that you have, so I'm just going to mark that point on my strap so that when I want to sew it to on my machine, I'm not going to be confused. So this is my other strap. I'm going to lay it as well and then mark where I want to place it. So in order not to have shortage, you just imagine that you have sewn it. Remember, this is how you are going to sew it. So after sewing it now, you mark that point and then you bring it to the other side as well, and then you cut off the excess, and then imagine that you have sewn it and then mark that point as well. Okay, so you can see I have gone ahead to sew it together, so you can see. So you make sure that you sew it exactly the way you want it to sit. You don't want it to be bending. If you need to bend the rope a bit so that it can conform with what you have, you bend your rope, and you can see that I marked it with my chalk, and then I added allowance so that I can sew it. So now that I have done this, the next thing I'm going to do now is to place my facing on it and use it to turn everything neatly. You can see what it looks like on the wrong side. It's still rough, so you use your facing to turn it out neatly. So I'll go ahead now and then pin it to my facing like this, okay. You just pin it. Since it's the same thing, it's going to make it easy for you, and then you sew and flip. You do the same thing for the back as well. I have also cut facing for my back. So this is my back facing. I'll turn the neckline with my facing again. So I will, after doing that, I'm going to turn the shoulder and then bring it back to show us what will happen. Okay, so now you can see I have turned the neckline. This is the outer part, and this is what the inside is looking like. You can see that the neck now is neatly turned. Mine is not going to be so off because I want it to be as modest as possible, like I explained. So if you want yours to be really off, you just need to adjust your measurement. So what I'm going to do now is to fix my sleeve. I already cut out my sleeve. The length of the sleeve is at my elbow point, which is around 12 inches. So I have cut out the sleeve now. So I'm going to hem the sleeve on the lower part. Then after hemming it, I'm going to fix it to my armhole. So after fixing my sleeve to my armhole, I'm just going to flip my dress, and then I will sew the side seams together, and then the dress is ready. So the last thing to do is to place my sticker on it. So like I always say, this sticker is available for purchase. If you need it, let me know in the comment section down below, and then we'll get this sticker for you. Okay, so my sleeve is fixed now, as you can see, and then I've sewn it on the side as well. So I'll just go ahead to place my Mama Africa sticker on it. Okay, so the sticker is placed now. You can see our crisscross design that we have on the upper part, and then this is the sticker already placed on the fabric just to make it pop. So like I said, this sticker is available for purchase. If you need it, just contact us at Larry Beatrice on Instagram, or you just contact the number that will be down below in the comment section. You can try to fix a pocket on this or not. The tutorial on how to fix an inner pocket is already on the channel, so you can also check that out if you want to fix a pocket to yours. So like I was explaining, my fabric is very stretchy. That's why I'm being careful with the way I shape the neckline. So if your fabric is not that stretchy, or you want it to be really off, please increase your width measurement. Especially you can use a neck width of 4 inches, 5 inches before you now cuff it again. And you can also increase your shoulder measurement so that the shoulder can drop a bit. So it just depends on what you want to work with. So this is mine now. I'll just take it to the mannequin so that we can see what this looks like. Okay, so we can see this is what the dress looks like now. You can see how beautiful and free the dress looks, and it's very simple to make, as we have seen. So the Mama Africa sticker that we put just makes the dress pop. It just breaks it from a plain dress to a really beautiful dress that we have now. I hope you enjoyed making this beautiful tutorial with me, and if you need any of these dresses available in our ready to wear collection, kindly let us know in the comment section down below, or you send us a message at Larry Dress on Instagram. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.